specification with that transistor. So what does stability means? Stability means that the impedance seen by the transistor, whether it can be input impedance or it can be output impedance, that impedance of the transistor should be positive, right? Z is given by V over I. So if you have a voltage and a current, you want to make sure that your whatever your phasor, including the phase, you want to make sure that your Z is always a positive number. Your impedance should be R plus JX, and that R plus JX can be anywhere on the Smith chart. Now, somebody can ask this question, okay, gamma is equal to 1 is maximum you can go on Smith chart. Gamma is equal to 0 is the center. Then as you increase your gamma, you go towards the edge of the Smith chart, and gamma is equal to 1 is your edge of the Smith chart. Now, what happens if your gamma is 1.1? Is it even possible that a transistor can see negative impedance? So definitely a transistor can see negative or positive impedance depending on many things. S parameter of the transistor, bias condition of the transistor. And since we understood one thing last time, that input and output are correlated with each other, like the you cannot see input and output in isolation. Why? Because transistor always have S12, S21, which means there is a response, there is a feedback. And as I explained this thing earlier as well, that what does a transistor look like, right? Transistor has this current source, it has this capacitance, like drain to source capacitance, which is nonlinear in nature. Then it has this CGS, which is nonlinear in nature, and then it has this feedback capacitance. So this feedback capacitance, technically, this feedback ensures that there is 1-2 relationship, like S12, S21 is all dependent on the CGD of the transistor. So the input and output correlation exists, and due to that, whether you when you have a transistor, whether your input can be unstable or stable, or your output can be stable or unstable. But as we know, last time we studied two things. We figured out what gamma in is, we figured out what gamma out is. So if I go back to that, you see, we did see that your where was my okay, that's in the, I think that's the PDF. Okay, it's here. So we did see that gamma is a function of load impedance. So whatever my gamma in is, whatever the input impedance looking into the transistor is actually the function of load impedance, right? Try to understand this thing, right? Because lot of the time this is not very obvious, that people might think, okay, I have a transistor, I have some input impedance looking into the transistor, but what I'm saying is this gamma in is not just dependent on the input of the transistor, it's also dependent on what load, what gamma L you are terminating at the load of the transistor. So gamma in is a function of gamma L and S parameters, right? And gamma out is function of gamma S and S parameters. So this dependency of S and gamma L determines what your gamma in will be. And there can be cases where you have the Smith chart, you terminated it with some impedance, say R plus JX at the output. Your input impedance might go negative. You can be somewhere here for your Z in. If Z in is outside Smith chart, what does it mean? It means that your impedances are in plus whatever your JX in, which means that you will have a negative resistance. Now, when you have a negative resistance, coming back to this, it is the cause for oscillations. So always remember one thing: a good RF engineer is the one who can design an amplifier which does not oscillate and an oscillator which does not amplify. So now if you are using a transistor to design an amplifier, what will happen is you might see oscillation. If you start seeing oscillation, what will happen, that say you had a frequency, you had some F0 at 2 gigahertz, you will see in the entire spectrum near 2 gigahertz, like 1 gigahertz, 3 gigahertz, 4, 5, 6, and so on, you will see all these spurts happening all over the spectrum. Now, because of that, what happens is you because of that spurs, your spectrum won't be clean, which means your quality of signal won't be good, and you might end up losing your signal. Okay, so that's why it's very important to make sure before even you start designing your amplifier, you have to make sure that your amplifier is stable and there are no oscillations in the transistor. That's your step one, and that is very, very important, because if that's not the case, then you won't be able to use your transistor. Your transistor won't be usable for any sort of amplification applications. Okay, so now if you see, it says that the stability of amplifier is very critical, and negative resistance at input or output causes oscillations. Okay, which means that your gamma in will be greater than 1 and gamma out will be greater than 1. And we understand this, right? Gamma in is looking into this network, gamma out is looking from this way into the network, gamma S is the source impedance, gamma L is the impedance you're terminating the load with. So now, when you have a transistor, there are two cases for a given transistors. First, I mentioned about CGD. I mentioned that you can have a case where there is a dependency between input and output. When there is a dependency between input and output, that is given by S12 or S21. Okay, S21 is usually your gain of your how much gain your transistor will give. Okay, so now the thing is that if say you have a case where S12 is 0, okay, it will mean that your transistor is unilateral. Unilateral का क्या मतलब है कि there is a singular one-to-one correlation. The relationship between port 1 and port 2 are interdependent, which means if you change, इसका क्या मतलब हुआ? If S12 is 0, try to understand this, right? Let's again go back to that gamma in equation. And if you check gamma in equation, gamma in is given by, let me write it from that, is S12, S21, gamma L. So if S12 is 0, what will happen? This term will become 0. If gamma S is equal to 0, then this term will become 0. So in that case, my gamma in will be just the function of, oh yeah, it's here. So gamma in is this, gamma out is this. So now what will happen is that if your transistor is unilateral, your gamma in will be is equal to S11 and gamma out will be equal to S22. Okay. So this is very important, because this kind of cancels out the interdependence of the interdependence of input and output. Okay, so in that case, your gamma in is equal to S11 and gamma 2 is equal to S22. Now, since gamma in is a function of S11, what happens if S11 is greater than 0? Usually, S parameters are given by, say, R angle theta or in the polar form, and R is your magnitude. What if your magnitude of S11 is greater than 1? Then the Z in will be greater than 1, which means the gamma will be greater than 1, which means you will be... So which means your gamma in will be greater than 1, which means you will be outside Smith chart. Okay, for input impedance as well as you will be outside Smith chart at the load of the transistor. So if S11 is greater than 1, it presents a negative resistance at the output. If S11 is greater than 1, the transistor presents a negative resistance at the input. So we understand this thing, that for sure the transistor will be unstable in these two cases, and technically we don't want that to happen. We don't want transistor to be unstable. So we don't want these conditions to exist. So we want, technically, our gamma in should be less than 1 and gamma out should be less than 1. Okay, if these two conditions are fulfilled, then means my transistor is unconditionally stable. तो कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. Once your transistor is stable, you can go ahead and you can start designing your amplifier. Okay, so for unconditional stability at a given frequency, gamma s has to be less than 1, gamma l has to be greater than gamma l has to be less than 1. So we know this expression, gamma in is equal to S11, we derived it last time, and gamma out is given by S22, S12, gamma s over 1 minus S11 gamma s. So these two conditions should be less than 1, right? Gamma s less than 1, gamma l less than 1, and then gamma in should be less than 1, and gamma out magnitude should be less than 1. These are two mandatory conditions. Okay, so if you force these conditions, what happens is you can basically, you know that maximum you can go on Smith chart, right? Maximum, what can be the maximum gamma you can go to? Maximum gamma can be equal to just 1, right? So if gamma in is equal to 1 and gamma out equal to 1, what you can do, you have to determine what are the value of gamma L and gamma S, which will produce gamma in is equal to 1 and gamma out equal to 1. So if you do that, you can put again, when you put the values of gamma in and gamma out in this, and you try to solve for it, you end up with these expressions. Okay, there are two things here. So when you are doing this thing, what is our objective? Our objective from here is to figure out if we can find out stability circles. From here, we understood that stability of a given transistor depends on gamma in, gamma s, gamma l, gamma out. So we need to first determine what area on Smith chart will be stable and what area on Smith chart won't be stable. So for that, we push these two conditions, and using that, what we can do, we can calculate what is my output stability circle and what is my input stability circle. So output stability circle is given for the gamma L values for which gamma in is equal to 1. Okay. So what we are trying to find, we are trying to find those gammas. We are trying to find those load impedances for which my gamma in is equal to 1, because gamma in because what we want to make sure, we want to ensure that at input I am reaching whatever my maximum gamma is possible. So which means my input is stable, but I am not crossing that one limit of 1, because if I cross limit of 1, then my input will be unstable. So at that condition, what is my RL and CL? So RL here is the radius, okay, and CL is the center. So it means if I have this Smith chart, what a stability circle will mean, that there will be a circle on the Smith chart, which can be anything. You know, it can be like this. It can even go outside Smith chart. So it will have a radius, which is given from here, and it will have a center, C and R. So RL and CL are the radius and centers of stability circle at the output. Okay, so you will just calculate these based on this expression. So the expression which you will be using, I have actually added to the slide deck, because I don't think you need to cram everything. What you need is, you need CL, you need RL, and you need RS and CS for plotting these circles. So this is what I have put in here, so that you can use this while doing. Just 1 second. Right. So once you know RL and CL, then the next objective is, how do you draw circle, right? So let's go back to the Smith chart. Let's open. So you see, there is always these markings in the bottom, which says, okay, origin 0.00, this is 1, and then it goes all the way to the 2. So when you are talking about radius and you are talking about center you can calculate. Center might be 0.5 angle 60. So you exactly know what impedance is the center. Now the radius will be a given value. Okay. So for example, we will try to solve a couple of problems to understand that. But just to give an example, there can be a radius of say zero point 0.5. Now, what does that 0.5 means, and how will you use that radius to draw a circle? Basically, what you will do, you have this Smith chart. You will go here and can I just to see if I can use it without copying my. Are you guys were not aware of the class today? Malini, do you sorry, Mansa, you told everyone about the class today, right?
Sir, usually I inform when there is no class.
Oh, so maybe people. Yeah, because I moved to a new city and I was very busy over weekend, so I was very tired and I didn't feel like taking class on Tuesday. So, anyways, it's okay. I think some people might have missed that, but it is what it is. So, so say, so we for example, we know a given radius and we know what is my center. So say my center will always be r angle theta, right? So say for example, I'm just guessing 0.5 angle 60 degrees. So how you plot 0.55 angle 60 degrees? You come here, you know approximately 60-degree angle. Say this is your 60-degree angle. Okay. Now you will put from here, this is your center, and you will put your compass and you will measure what your 0.5 is. From the center you can measure in this direction or this direction. So you can measure your 0.5, which is whatever from here up to here. So you put that from here, mark it, and that will be 0.5 angle 60. It's usually easy to mark r angle theta than r plus jx. I don't know if you guys realize it, but it's super easy if you want to mark an impedance rather than mark in polar form rather than in rectangular form, because then you know angle, you know exactly, and you just put it. So say this is my center, and say then I got another radius which is 0.7. Then I will do the same thing. I will measure whatever that radius is, say 0.7, and then from here I will put my compass wherever it goes up to say 0.7, and I will draw a circle. Okay, so that's how you will be using these stability equations to plot circles. So again, going back, what we are studying today, the stability in the transistor. To have a device stable, we want to ensure that our impedances are positive. Our device is not seeing negative impedance. Negative impedance means that since my gamma in and gamma out are dependent on gamma L and gamma S and S parameters, it's possible that I can end up being on Smith chart where my impedances can be negative. If my impedances can be negative, it will create oscillations. If it creates oscillations, I cannot use my transistor for amplification purpose. As a result, it's our duty to it's our duty to make sure that the transistor is stabilized before we do that. Okay, so for that it is important to understand two things: output stability circle, input stability circles. So I showed here that how we can calculate the radius and the center for the output stability circle, and we similarly calculate the radius and the center for the input stability circle. So this is simple. The delta is given by this. It's S1, S12, S21, S22 minus delta, blah 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 blah, and the similarly for the input, is this the radius, is the center. So before moving forward, let's try to solve let's try to draw one couple of couple of stability circle. I think that will give you more clarity. Again, I don't have compass here with me, but you guys will need it while you are trying to plot stability circle. So let's see an example. So say let me try to give you, okay, yeah, before that, before we do that, there is another thing we need to know. So okay, I draw the circle, then what? How we determine usually whether, once we have drawn the circle, whether which region of the Smith chart is stable or not. So basically what I'm trying to say this was my Smith chart and this is my circle. I draw the stability circle. So it has two regions. One region is this, right? Another region is this. So what, say I am drawing output stability circle. So is this region stable or this region stable, or this region is unstable or this region is unstable? That's the first thing we need to know and understand, because without that we won't. Where did I close that? Without that, I won't know which region is actually unstable, right? So once we plot RL and CL and RS and CS, then we have to remember this thing. Okay, let's try to follow what's happening here. So what we want to do is that, say this was my again coming back, I plotted the center, I used the radius, I plotted the circle. Similarly at the source, I had the center, I had the radius, I plotted the circle. Now let's see what happens in first at the load or in gamma L plane. So in gamma L plane, I have these two circles. Okay. Now if which region of my circle is stable or unstable will be determined by the fact what my S11 is. So first case, say my S11 is less than 1. So if my S11 is less than 1, I will, what does it mean? If it is less than, if it is less than 1, then my gamma in magnitude will be less than 1. So in the case where my S11 is less than 1, what will happen is that this area, which is if this is my stability circle, okay, at the load, this will be my stable region. Okay, if my S11 is less than 1, this area will be my stable region. Then if my S11 is greater than 1, okay, if my S11 is greater than 1, opposite will happen. This area, which is basically outside area between my Smith chart and my stability circle, this area will be my stable region. So in this case, this is stable. In the case where my S11 is less than 1, this area will be stable and this will be my unstable area. So what does unstable area means? That if you are designing a matching network, you know how I give you gamma L and I ask you to transform it to 50 ohm. If that gamma L is in this region, you are screwed up. You know, if you select that gamma L and you try to design matching network, you will see oscillations. Similarly, in this case, if you are designing in this region and you take any impedance on this Smith chart, you choose it and you try to design it, then you will be in the unstable area. So just try to absorb this. So it's basically simple, you know, to remember this. How you can think of it? You can think of it this way, right? If you have two cases, if S11 is less than 1, and second case is if S11 is greater than 1. So in first case, if your S11 is less than 1, right, then your gamma in will be less than 1, and the center representing gamma in less than 1 will be the stable portion. If your S11 is greater than 1, then your gamma in is greater than 1 will be greater than 1, and the region which is at the center of the Smith chart will be unstable. So in one case, you will have the center as stable. In another case, your center will be unstable. But at the same time, there will be other areas which can be unstable. So in this case, this is unstable area. In this case, this is unstable area. So, and that both of these things will depend on the what my magnitude of S11 is. Okay, because this S11 will basically for the input, right? For the we are right now plotting the sorry, why is it hanging? Okay, so when we plot it, you will basically, depending on the sign magnitude of your S11, you will calculate RL, CL, RS, CS, and you will plot first circles, and then after that you will identify. So which one is what. So in this case, if S11 is less than 1, you have, that's the always the case, you know, maximum case S11 should be less than 1. So you, if that's the case, you will plot your gamma gamma L circles, stability circles at the load, and the center will be always stable, and this portion which is where the center is CL, and in another case gamma n equal to 0 is the center. This is stable, this is unstable. In the second case, this is stable and this is unstable. So if this is the case, your maximum part of the Smith chart is unusable, right? You understand this, right? Because majority of the portion is gone. Now, in the second case, what happens at gamma S plane is that you draw CS and RS. So you remember, right? I said when you are calculating CS, RS, and RL, CL, that is the circle for gamma in is equal to 1 and gamma out equal to 1. These were the assumptions. That's why when we are talking about gamma L circles here, gamma L circles, when we are talking about, we are plotting the CL and RL, and that represent gamma in is equal to 1. When we are plotting CS and RS, that represent gamma out equal to 1. Okay. So now, similar thing here, if my S22 is less than 1 and S22 is greater than 1, if S22 is less than 1, my center, now in this case, we are plotting gamma S plane, and gamma S plane is plotted for gamma out is equal to 1. So gamma out less than 1 will be stable, and this will be unstable. And if it is other way around, if S22 is greater than 1, this area will be stable and this area will be unstable. Is this clear or not? Do you guys want me to repeat this? Because this is very important. Because if you choose other regions, you may screw up your impedance selection.
Sir, in which region are we having the oscillations?
So unstable is always oscillation, right? If it is stable, you will never see oscillations. So unstable region, for example, if you pick anything in this area, you will always get oscillation. Okay, so let me quickly go to next formula, which is important, and then let's try to solve an example. So say you have, okay, also to determine stability, you calculate K factor. Okay, first step is actually to calculate K factor and determine whether the transistor is stable. So there are two things: unconditionally stable, which means that whatever you do, transistor is unconditionally stable, right? It is stable for sure. And for that to be stable, K has to be greater than 1 and delta has to be less than 1. If K is not is not greater than 1, then your transistor is potentially unstable, which means ki you have to draw circles and figure out what is the area of intersection and figure out if your impedances are lying in the region you want to design for, and your transistor might be unstable in that case. So you always calculate K factor and see if that is unconditionally stable or not, right? So for example, let's take this example. I think this will clear a lot of things once we do it. So this example basically is asking you have S parameters, ठीक है? तो मैं एक बार ना उसको खोलता हूँ इसको. Okay. So the question is that you have S11 is equal to 0.65. Deepak, let me know at 9:55 Indian time. We will have to stop because I have to give a talk at 10.
Okay, sir.
So S12 is this thing. S21 is 5 angle 115 and S22 is 0.8 angle minus 35. So these are all S parameters. The question is, okay, determine stability. And then plot source and load circles. Okay. And once you plot load and source circles, then see which region is stable or which is not. Okay. So in this case, what will be the first thing? First thing will be to calculate K factor. Okay. So K is given by 1 minus magnitude of S11 whole square minus S22 whole square plus delta whole square over 2 times S12 S21. ठीक है, तो पहले और इधर डेल्टा इज गिवन बाय S11 S22 माइनस S12 S21. ठीक है, तो सबसे पहले हमें K कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा और देखना पड़ेगा कि K का वैल्यू क्या है in this particular case. Let's try to solve it. तो एक मिनट, let me take out my calculator. 1 minus S11 का हो गया 0.65 0.000. So first calculate delta S11 S22 minus S1 और इसका once you calculate delta you have to take mod of delta. ठीक है, तो this minus this is equal to 0.504 angle 249.6 degrees. तो S11 S22 को basically multiply करना है 0.65 into this, and since I'm multiplying it I can just directly add them angles. S12 S21 को same multiply this, and then since they are multiply I can add it. Then you have two options. Either you use calculator, just do जो तुम्हारा आएगा you can calculate it to rectangle, subtract the impedances and then convert rectangular to polar. ठीक है, so now delta you know, so you see what is the magnitude of delta, that is 0.504. फिर K calculate करेंगे ये delta को use करके यहाँ पर. So give me 1 second, let me try to calculate this. .547. ठीक है, तो अब once you have K and delta you will have C. Your K is less than 1 and magnitude of delta is also less than 1. So if you go back to this, for unconditionally stable your K should be greater than 1, which means that this device is potentially unstable. Is this clear or no? This is simple, I just plugged in the values.
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay. उसके बाद once we have this, so now we know okay device हमारा unstable है. अब अनस्टेबल है तो वी विल नीड टू चेक टू थिंग्स, लोड स्टेबिलिटी एंड सोर्स स्टेबिलिटी. Okay, so for load stability and source stability, we will calculate what? CS
से
RS.
डेल्टा पे डिपेंड करता है, मतलब device is potentially unstable depends on delta also.
Yes, I mean the thing is that first thing is K. So first you will check K. If in this case K was greater than 1, okay, और तुम्हारा डेल्टा जो है वो डेल्टा was less. Usually क्या होगा ना, डेल्टा maximum times will always be less than 1. Okay. Hello?
ओके सर, पर अगर k की वैल्यू लेस देन 1 है तो डेल्टा की वैल्यू चेक करनी है या फिर बस k की वैल्यू चेक करके काम हो जाएगा?
K की वैल्यू चेक करके काम हो जाएगा because delta in maximum case will always be less than 1.
if delta
Okay.
is greater than 1 तो फिर अनस्टेबल होगा वो?
डेल्टा ग्रेटर देन 1 होगा ही नहीं एक्चुअली कभी.
ओके.
डेल्टा विल मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द टाइम डेल्टा विल ऑलवेज बी लेस देन 1. डेल्टा ग्रेटर देन 1 अगर हुआ तो योर बेसिकली डेल्टा अगर ग्रेटर देन 1 हुआ ना यहाँ पर, बिकॉज सी ये पूरी क्वांटिटी 1 से छोटी है ना. अगर डेल्टा ग्रेटर देन 1 हुआ तो के ऑटोमेटिकली ग्रेटर देन 1 होगा, फिर तो कोई क्वेश्चन ही नहीं है. अगर तुम्हारा डेल्टा 1 से बड़ा है ना तो के तो अपने आप बड़ा हो ही जाएगा. तो इफ दैट्स द केस देन फॉर श्योर इट विल बी अनकंडीशनली स्टेबल. But agar k there can be a case where delta is less than 1 but still k can be greater than 1, then it's again unconditionally stable. But agar delta bhi 1 se kam hai aur k bhi less than 1 hai, then it's potentially unstable. Agar you are saying delta is greater than 1 and then k is ye wala case hona bahut impossible hai, but if that also happens still k is less than 1, so it will be potentially unstable. So now once you have that, you will calculate CS RS and CL RL. तो CS RS और CL RL का हम वापस फॉर्मूला देखना पड़ेगा क्या था. So let's go back here. ठीक है, तो मैग्नीट्यूड S11 S21 S22 माइनस डेल्टा. ठीक है, तो पहले हम CL और RL कैलकुलेट करते हैं. पहले RL करते हैं. So RL is S12 S21 over magnitude S22 का whole square minus delta का whole square. This is your RL. और CL है S22 minus delta S11 conjugate, इसका पूरे का conjugate divided by magnitude S22 का square माइनस डेल्टा का होल स्क्वायर. बाय द वे तुम लोगों को साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर यूज करना आ गया ना? व्हेन यू आर डूइंग योर प्रॉब्लम्स पहले, आर यू यूजिंग साइंटिफिक कैलकुलेटर और नॉट?
Yes, sir, we're using.
ओके ओके. तो इसको हमें कैलकुलेट करना पड़ेगा. तो इस केस में मेरे को देखना पड़ेगा. ये CL है 1.3 एंगल 48 और RL है 0.45. सोर्स के केस में CS है 1.79 एंगल 122 एंड RS है 1.04. ठीक है, तो अभी CL एंड RL आया है. अब हमें वापस स्मिथ चार्ट चाहिए और हमें पहले फिगर आउट करना पड़ेगा वेयर दी स्टेबिलिटी सर्कल्स आर, यू नो. सो लेट मी पुट इट हियर. सो लेट्स ट्राई टू फर्स्ट सी दिस. यार इसको यहाँ रख दिया तो ये गड़बड़ हो जाएगा. So first let's try to plot load stability circle. Okay, तो load stability circle plot करने के लिए let's open this. Okay, so कितना था? RL है 0.45, CL है 1.3 angle 48. ओके, तो अब हमें ये दो चीजें पता है, तो कैसे क्या करेंगे, पहले हम CL को मार्क करेंगे. सो CL 48 डिग्रीज, सो यहाँ पे रखेंगे, यू पुट दैट D कहते थे ना उसको, D जिससे एंगल पता लगता है, एंड देन यू विल मार्क 48. ओके, आई एम जस्ट अप्रोक्सीमेटिंग इट. ओके, फिर 1.3, you see this. So for measuring 1.3, you will have to use the scale, and you will have to basically go here. यहां से तुम नापोगे उसको, कितना है ओरिजिन से 0 से 1.3, so 1.2 1.3, so this big. So approximately यहां से रखोगे तो सेंटर में, मतलब you will have to check it, but my guess is it will come somewhere here. ठीक है, तो अभी सेंटर पता लग गया, CL we know. Now RL is 0.45. You will go back again to origin, मार्क करोगे 0.45, and then you will put like a your compass 0.45 उतना, I think it will be approximately इतना, and then you will draw a circle. ठीक है, ठीक है, अब सर्कल बन गया. देन व्हाट विल हैपन, दिस इज लोड, राइट. सो अब हम क्या चेक करेंगे, साइन ऑफ S11. तो गो बैक टू द क्वेश्चन. S11 इज 0.65, है ना. S11 का मैग्नीट्यूड है 0.65. So if it is 0.65, S11 magnitude is what, less than 1. So again, going back to that thing we saw, if my magnitude of S11 is less than 1, तो जो center of the Smith chart है, that area will be stable, and this area will be unstable, है ना. तो कौन सा एरिया अनस्टेबल होगा, कौन सा स्टेबल होगा, who will tell? Which area will be stable and which area will be unstable?
So stable towards the Smith chart center.
Correct. So you will basically, what you will do, you will plot that, or you will need to know what is your stable region and what will be your unstable region. So once you know that, तो एक ये हमने plot कर दिया, and then we saw our S11 is less than 1. Now if our S11 is less than 1, this is my center of the Smith chart, है ना. और जो going back to this again, वापस से, तो 1 second यार, मेरे को 1 मिनट, HLN वाले का मैसेज आ रहा है.
Sir, it is 9:56.
Yeah, I think I should go now. We will continue from here. I'm getting messages from them. So again, we draw this circle, and then I think we will continue from here. Uske baad we will know there are two regions, right? One is this intersection region, and then other one is this region. So if you select any impedance here, say I select impedance here, that will be stable. But if I select impedance here, that will be unstable. So इससे क्या होगा कि अगर बाई चांस तुम्हारा मैचिंग यहाँ पर होता है, एंड आई गिव यू दिस इम्पीडेंस टू मैच टू 50 ohms, then it will be a problem. If you select that impedance, your device will give oscillations. ठीक है, तो I will continue, and I have to then explain you how do we stabilize actually a given network. So we will carry on. I have to leave for a talk, और मानसा मैं वीकेंड तक वो भेजूंगा, द लाइसेंस एंड द प्रोसीजर टू डाउनलोड ADS and each IP address, and then you coordinate with the students in the class. So I just got message from him that license issue guy is on leave, but he will be definitely be able to give before Monday. So somebody will have to coordinate with the students. ठीक है, I will send you and I will continue from here. So basically, once we know, again, similarly, try to do RS and CS. So in this case, RS is around 1.04 and CS is 1.79 angle 122 degrees. You will do the same thing. 122 degree kahan par hoga? 90, somewhere here. Okay, so your center will be 122 approximately, even further up, क्योंकि 1.74 है, so little bit further up. You will put that, you will put radius, and then you will draw a circle, right? And then same thing, you know, once you draw the circle, this will represent gamma out greater than 1. This is representing gamma in greater than 1, and this area, because you know now you will for source you will check. Sorry, for load you should check S22, not S11. एक हमने गलती कर दी. So S22 चेक करना है, S11 चेक नहीं करना है. तो अगर S22 देखो, that is also less than 1, so not a issue. So S22 here, and here you will check S11. S11 should be less than 1. If S11 is less than 1, go back to this and check what happens. S11 less than 1, तो ये area जो internal है, that is stable and this is unstable. So this area will be unstable. And in this case, this area. We'll continue discussing this in next class.
इनपुट स्टेबिलिटी सर्कल कौन सा है इसमें? गामा इन वाला, गामा आउट वाला?
ये वाला. This is input. See, input stability circle is given by RS and CS. When I say RS and CS, that is equal to when we consider gamma out is equal to 1. ठीक है, तो जब गामा इधर देखो ना तुम, जब हमने यहाँ पर लोड आउटपुट स्टेबिलिटी सर्कल प्लॉट किया है, वो गामा इन इक्वल टू 1 के लिए है. जब हमने सोर्स स्टेबिलिटी सर्कल प्लॉट किया है, वो गामा आउट इक्वल टू 1 के लिए. तो डोंट गेट कंफ्यूज, इट्स ऑलवेज गामा एस इज RS CS. You don't even have to write this, you know. Frankly, you know what your RS and CS is, then you go back, check S11 sign, and depending on that, you can choose which part is stable and which is unstable. ठीक है?
ठीक है सर. So मतलब सर का इनपुट स्टेबल है नहीं, ये देखने के लिए हमें आउट लोड सर्कल प्लॉट करना पड़ेगा.
नहीं, इनपुट स्टेबल है या नहीं उसके लिए सोर्स सर्कल ही प्लॉट करना पड़ेगा. लोड स्टेबल है या नहीं उसके लिए लोड स्टेबिलिटी सर्कल प्लॉट करना पड़ेगा, RL and CL.
ओके सर, ठीक है सर, आ गया, ठीक
है ना. So I will upload all these PDFs जो हमने लास्ट किया था plus PPT today after my talk. You can keep going through over it, because next, what is this? Once you do it, they are calling me. I need to go, guys. Bye. If you guys want to join, I have posted the link in the chat box. अगर तुम लोगों के पास टाइम है, you can join there.
Sure, sir.
Bye.